Good morning, everybody. My name is Miroslav Polzer. I'm the technical coordinator of the ECOS stakeholder group, the Education, Communication and Outreach Stakeholders Group at the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change conference here in Bonn on the 16th of May 2017. I'm delighted to have today our guest, Professor Dirk Helbing of the ETH Zurich, and Professor Helbing will speak about climate Olympics as a way to get non-state actors or to get everybody engaged in climate action, and also based on the extensive use of modern information and communication technologies. Professor Helbing, we are delighted to have you with us. The floor is yours.
I'd like to advertise City Olympics as a way to solve the world's problems. At the moment, our existential problems haven't been solved. We're faced with climate change, with financial, economic, and spending crisis, with conflict and war, with mass migration, with terrorism. And all of this has, I believe, one root cause, which is lack of sustainability. So we're overusing resources in some places. That creates a lack of resources elsewhere, and as a consequence there's conflict, there's war, there's mass migration, and many other things that are really bordering us. So if the future should improve, then we need to fix that fundamental problem. As we know from the Limit to Growth study and many other studies, the resources of the world are limited, and if we go on as before, we would see an economic collapse and a population collapse. So billions of people could die, and of course that needs to be prevented. And as a result, some people have asked whether democracy is an outdated technology and would have to be replaced by a different kind of system. And that has led to a new kind of totalitarianism, where big data is combined with artificial intelligence to build something like a crystal ball that allows to see what's going on in any corner of the world in real time, and maybe even predict the future to some extent with predictive analytics tools. And people like Chris Anderson have claimed that we just had enough data, we wouldn't need theory anymore, we wouldn't need science. The data would just tell us the truth and tell us what to do. So we would just have to do it like a benevolent dictator or like a wise king in a data-driven way. And that has led to the creation of something that we could call a digital scepter, and I will explain it in some more detail. And as a consequence, we have ended up in what people call a technological totalitarianism. This is a very serious thing, because we have ended up in something that we could call, with some justification, a 1984 and Brave New World, characterized by mass surveillance and individual profiling, by behavioral manipulation, the use of citizen scores, predictive policing, and censorship. And here's some evidence for this. So 100 billion have been spent on mass surveillance, at least, and all the things that you've clicked are still accessible to some companies and organizations, and those links, of course, reveal a lot about you. And that kind of personal data is being used actually for personalized information, and that's used to basically steer your attention, your emotions, your opinions, your decisions, and your behaviors. And it's also become a tool of politics, not just of marketing. And besides that, a citizen score has been developed that basically measures the value of a single citizen from the point of view of society or those who rule society. So that score decides about your job opportunities and about conditions for loans and travel opportunities in China in perspective. But it would also decide about the services and products that you would get in times of short resources. So if you have a high citizen score, you get basically everything. If you have a low citizen score, however, you wouldn't get a lot of the benefits of society. You wouldn't have access to them. And a similar system has been built in the UK, where it's called Karma Police, and we have to assume that this is also built elsewhere in all the countries of the world. And besides this, now we also have censorship. So this is just to show you that we have actually ended up in this technological totalitarianism, and I think it's very concerning. We're heading towards a feudalism 2.0, a surveillance capitalism that is very inflexible, and that would tear down democracies. And that's why we have alerted the public with this Scientific American article called "Will Democracy Survive? Big Data and Artificial Intelligence." Now, we have to do something about it, I believe. The approach that we've taken as societies around the world so far contradicts severely against the fundamental principles and values and success principles of modern societies. It contradicts against data protection laws, the Constitution, the UN Human Rights Convention, and also the Bible. And by the way, the use of these technologies have led to a lot of chaos, including the manipulation of elections, a post-fact society, disorientation, social conflict and fragmentation, and crumbling democracies. So I think we really have to take another approach. We have to ensure democratic control, scientific use, ethical use, transparency, and prevention of misuse. And for this, I propose to create something like a network of digital labs, something like media labs, you could say, where data and complexity science would be done and would be transparent and run by scientists. But we need a much bigger change, because even though we have more data and the best technology ever, it turns out that we're losing control of the world for a simple reason. Processing power cannot keep up with data volume, and data volume cannot keep up with systemic complexity as we go on networking the world. And so we need a new control paradigm, which is distributed control or participatory control, much more participation. So a new game begins. We need new rules of the game. We need to turn the monopoly game that many people have played in the past into a more cooperative game. And in particular, we need to build a resilient society that can cope with unexpected challenges in developments, and that requires diversity and decentralization and distributed control. Subsidiarity would be a good approach. Now, some people think that big business could fix the world. I think we need to be skeptical about this, because what they would do is try to identify a problem, and then to each problem identify possible solutions, and then choose what they consider to be the best solution and roll it out globally. And it would lead to something like this. That means basically a monoculture, a too big to fail system, and a lack of diversity. And diversity is actually the driver of innovation and of resilience and collective intelligence. So it's really needed for us to succeed in addressing those challenges of the world. So we need to have a different approach, basically, to solve the world's problems. And that would be localization rather than globalization. We should think global, but we should act local and diverse. And some people have proposed it would be a good idea if mayors rule the world. No matter whether you share that opinion or not, here is a proposal that I think would work beautifully to really make big advances towards the solution of the world's problems, which is City Olympics. So why not let the cities of the world compete for the best energy solution, environmental solutions, climate solutions, and solutions to all the kinds of problems that plague people all over the world. So basically, every, say, 2 or 4 years, those cities would engage in competitions, which would involve scientists and engineers to come up with better solutions, but it would also engage the public, because the public would have to be mobilized to buy new technology, for example, solar panels or any kind of technology that would be more environmental friendly and make a contribution to the solution. The media would be involved, politics would be involved, and basically there would be competition, which on the one hand naturally raises everybody's effort, but it's also fun. So it's a very different approach that really frees up positive creativity, I should say. Of course, we would need to have different weight classes. That means large metropoles would compete against large metropoles and small cities against small cities. And every 2 years, we would have another stage where cities would learn from each other what were the best solutions and approaches and procedures. So there would be basically an alternation between competition and cooperation. And of course, there would be many disciplines like improving wind energy and solar energy vehicles and sustainable cities and all sorts of things that would contribute to those solutions that we're looking for, but also solutions that would head towards a new organization of our economy, away from the waste producing consumption society towards a circular economy and a sharing economy. So the resources of the world would really be enough for everyone, which I'm absolutely convinced of. So it's not a matter of lack of resources or overpopulation. I think it's a matter of better organization of the world that can be dramatically improved also with the digital means that we have now at hand. So using the Internet of Things, we can now measure externalities, and using blockchain technology, we can build new incentive system that would basically drive the world towards more sustainability. That means we can unleash market forces based on measurements of environmental and social impacts, and in this way drive the world towards more sustainable solutions. Could also be other disciplines oriented at creating digital assistants that support awareness and better decisions, or also creativity and innovation and better coordination. So I'd like to say, to fix the world by 2030, there are better solutions than totalitarian solutions or new feudalistic approaches. City Olympics is just one of those approaches that I love very much, because it seems to be so obvious that this could make a big contribution to a better world. But there are other approaches like digital democracy, Finance 4.0, a new financial system, and democratic capitalism that I couldn't talk about here, but you will find information in the FuturICT YouTube channel if you're interested. They could all make contributions to a solution of the sustainability challenge and other challenges based on democratic and market principles and a world with freedom and creativity. So thank you very much for your interest and attention.
Thank you very much.